Hey, what's going on? You're hanging out with the Rock Man backstage at Osheaga 2014, and I'm with Sam Roberts, who we know each other, but we don't know each other.
I know, that's the thing. I didn't know that you were in Slaves on Dope, and when we were sort of coming up everybody in Montreal knew Slaves on Dope. If you played in a band in the 90s, you knew who Slaves on Dope were, and we were all pissed off at you guys because you used to completely monopolize our only two kind of music outlets in the press at the Hour in the Mirror, and it was always just about you guys. So,
I would say
be here is what I'm saying.
I would say you came out on top.
We took the very slow arc, the very, very long trajectory that way. So
I just watched you from the Virgin Mobile Hangout Center where we're broadcasting from, and you guys just destroyed it. I mean, I'm looking at you, and you guys are way heavier live than you are on record. I mean, you guys really give it.
I mean, that's something we're trying to narrow the gap a little bit, because I think that you get into the studio and you start, I don't know, pouring over the details, and eventually at the end of the whole thing, you've sort of sometimes lost just the spirit of the song. You've lost the energy, and the more you tour, the more you spend your life on the road, the more you realize that that's kind of where the heart of the whole thing lies, and that if you can get in the studio and narrow the gap between what happens on the stage and what happens there when you're tracking a song, then you end up with something that maybe it's not as polished, maybe it's not as perfect as you'd like it to be, but there's an energy to it. And I think the last couple of records specifically, we try to perform live off the floor as much as possible so that it feels more like the band that you see on the stage.
Well, that's what I got. I mean, and especially when you were playing a lot of the new stuff, it just sounded like, it really sounded like it was on the record, which means, you really took a live approach to it. You went in with a very interesting producer this time too.
Oh, he was very interesting, as a producer should be, because if a producer just sits there and taps you on the back and says, you know what, you guys are doing a great job, just keep doing what you're doing, then you're probably not, you're paying him for nothing really. And he came in with the opposite approach. He's like, let's just see, here's the raw material at our disposal, you guys. Let's see if we sort of configure the whole thing, shake you guys up a little bit, what kind of record that you can make. And I think, to be honest with you, especially after, again, being on the road, making records for a number of years, that's what you look for in somebody. And somebody's going to sort of defy you to do something, rather than just say, whatever's worked in the past, let's just, why sort of rock the boat, so to speak.
And it seems like you got pushed a bit on this one.
Absolutely. Well, the guy's name is Youth, and
from Killing Joke.
He's from Killing Joke, which right there is coming at music from a pretty different place than where we've sort of traditionally come from. But we found so much common ground almost right away, because he's also made records for Crowded House. He plays in a band with Paul McCartney, so he has this really sort of melodic sense and an understanding of how to kind of make a good, concise rock and roll or pop song. But if you need to turn on the afterburners, then he also plays in Killing Joke and can sort of take you to a very different place if you're trusting enough with him, if you allow it. And I think we really got into that. It's like, where does Youth see this song? That's his name, by the way. His name's Youth, one word, like a Brazilian soccer player. You're a heavy dude when you only have one name, first and last. So wherever Youth. And sometimes we would go down this road into a dark tunnel and we'd kind of pull back, but other times we would come out on the other side and find ourselves in a better place than where we'd left.
I ask everybody this. So far in your music career, what's been your biggest holy fuck moment where you've just been like, I can't believe I'm standing next to this guy on stage. I can't believe this artist likes our band. I can't believe I'm opening up for this act.
Honestly, I mean, there have been so many times where I had to pinch myself to say, is this really happening? I think we started off with a bit of a bang back in 2003. We played at the Sarstock Festival, where we've basically gone on stage with, 50% of the people that I idolized just happened to be playing.
Like the band on your shirt.
Like the Rolling Stones and AC/DC and the Guess Who, and all these people were on that one stage. So I kind of knocked a lot of people off the bucket list at that one show. But just since then, sometimes it's the people that you expect the least that sort of leave the biggest impression, And a guy like Brian Deck, who we'd made our record Collider with, such an understated guy, a real gentleman, but also, somebody who's made Modest Mouse records and Caliphone records and these other bands that I've always liked over the years. And just to hear what he did with our music, how he interpreted our music, a guy like Youth, that the fact that he wanted to work with us at all, it was just sort of, it's something you never really expect to happen, but you're sure glad when it does.
I'm going to let another secret out of the bag that a lot of people might not know. You're a pretty damn, and this is by reputation, a pretty damn good hockey player.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you.
I've been here. I spoke to a guy that plays hockey with you because you play pickup hockey and you're house league hockey, and he says you're pretty damn good.
Oh man, that's just the biggest compliment you could ever.
How serious do you guys take this? Because he gets suited up like he's playing in the NHL. You guys really take this serious?
It's crazy. It's basically like the lowest level of hockey you can ever play, but the amount of pride that goes into it, and we're all training. We're like, I ate my carbs last night, and when you have a bad game, I probably take it harder than if I have a bad gig on the stage, which is probably not a good thing ultimately, because nobody is ever going to pay me to play hockey. But I don't know. You grow up in Montreal. You grow up in the reality of every kid goes to the rink every day to play on the shinny rinks, and also goes has their parents who commit a hell of a lot of their lives and their time to driving us there to be a part of hockey. And then you have the incredible history of the Montreal Canadiens hanging over you all the time. So half of the time I was just fantasizing that I was Guy Lafleur or Bob Gainey or Steve Shutt, and then you find yourself actually out there and you realize that you're not any of those guys. It's a hard it's a hard moment to face. I'm still facing it down. I'm still trying.
Well, I think you make up for it in the other areas of music.
Yeah, that's why. What do you think? That's why I got such a chip on my shoulder. That's what drives the music.
You heard it here first. Sam Roberts, disgruntled hockey player.
That's it. That's my real title. This is all just a big charade,
Thanks a lot for hanging out with us, man. We wish you continued success, and we love you over at Shome. You know that.
Thank you very much. Always great to have the hometown support. It means the world to us, so cheers. Thank you.
Absolutely. Rockman hanging out with Sam Roberts from the Sam Roberts Band, and from, I don't know what league you play in. What are they called?
Oh, we're a few anonymous beer leagues.
From a few anonymous beer leagues. Osheaga 2014.